Have you ever caught yourself mid-conversation with someone who isn't even in the room? You're brushing your teeth, driving to work, or lying awake at 2 a.m., and suddenly you're deep into an entire dialogue that exists nowhere except inside your own head. You're defending yourself against an accusation nobody made. You're delivering the perfect comeback to an argument that ended 3 days ago. You're rehearsing a confession you'll probably never say out loud. And the strange part isn't that it happens, it's how real it feels while it's happening. Your chest tightens, your jaw clenches, your heart rate actually changes, responding to words that were never spoken, to people who have no idea this conversation is even taking place. So why does your brain do this? Why can't it just stay quiet? Here's the first thing to understand. This isn't a glitch. It's not a sign that something is broken in you. What you're experiencing has a name in psychology. It's called an imaginary or internal dialogue, and it's one of the most common features of human cognition. Your brain is, at its core, a prediction machine. It didn't evolve to sit still and enjoy the present moment. It evolved to anticipate what happens next, to prepare you for threats, for conflicts, for opportunities long before they actually arrive. So when you imagine a conversation with your boss before a difficult meeting or replay an argument with a friend, you're not being irrational, you're running a simulation, and simulations, in evolutionary terms, kept our ancestors alive. The brain that could rehearse a confrontation before it happened had a serious advantage over the brain that couldn't. But here's where it gets more interesting, because not all imaginary conversations serve the same purpose. Psychologists have identified a few distinct patterns. The first is what we might call the unfinished business conversation, replaying something that already happened, except this time you say what you wished you'd said. This one is almost always tied to a moment where you felt unheard, misunderstood, or caught off guard in real life. Your brain, unsatisfied with how things actually unfolded, keeps reopening the file, trying to rewrite the ending. The second pattern is the rehearsal conversation, imagining something before it happens, like a difficult phone call or a tense family dinner. This one is your brain trying to reduce uncertainty, because uncertainty to your nervous system feels dangerous. And the third is the validation conversation, imagining someone finally recognizing your effort, your pain, or your point of view. This one tends to surface when you feel invisible in some part of your life, when you're craving an acknowledgement that hasn't come. Now here's the part most people never stop to notice. These imagined conversations often feel more satisfying than the real ones. And that makes sense, because in your head, you control every variable. You know exactly what to say. The other person reacts exactly the way you need them to. There's no awkward silence, no unexpected response, no risk of humiliation. Real conversations are messy. They involve tone you can't predict, timing you can't control, and people who don't follow your script. So your mind, quietly, starts preferring the version where it's in charge. And for a while, that feels like a relief. But over time, it can become something else entirely, a loop. Instead of preparing you for real interaction, the imaginary conversation starts replacing it. You rehearse the apology you never deliver, you perfect the argument you never actually have, and the emotional charge gets discharged internally, which means the real relationship never actually moves forward. This is the psychological tension worth sitting with. Imagination itself is not the enemy here. It's actually one of the most sophisticated tools your brain has. It allows you to process social situations, manage anxiety, and prepare for challenges that genuinely matter. Therapists even use guided imagery for this exact reason, helping people mentally rehearse difficult conversations before having them for real. The issue isn't that you imagine things, the issue is when imagination quietly becomes a substitute for confrontation, connection, or closure. When the version in your head becomes so much easier to live in that the real version keeps getting postponed. So if you're someone who constantly finds yourself lost in conversations that never happened, it doesn't mean you're overthinking or broken. It means your brain is actively trying to protect you, prepare you, or process something unresolved. The real question isn't how to stop your mind from doing this, because it likely never fully will. The real question is whether these imagined conversations are helping you walk toward the real one or quietly convincing you that you don't need to have it at all. Because no matter how detailed the simulation gets, no matter how perfectly you rehearse the words, the actual growth, the actual connection, and the actual peace you're looking for will only ever happen outside your own head, in the real conversation with the real person saying the real thing.